Good gracious alive!
Jordan, look at that! Holy cow!
I think if you look carefully, that T-shirt has an S on it.
Stevie Francis, showtime! Do the hokey pokey and turn yourself around, young man!
What a play by Bias! Holy cow!
This is it, our Dunkuary release show. You've been voting for the past 2.5 weeks. We now have our Sweet 16, the 16 greatest dunks in ACC history, according to you. Which will be #1. I'm Jeff Fischel. With me today, NC State great Chucky Brown. Chucky, no X's and O's today. It's just enjoying the dunks.
No, just enjoying the dunks, the nasty, aggressive, degree of difficulty, all that. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
And at the end of the show, we will get Chucky's personal bracket as well. Truly, this is up to you. You have today and tomorrow to vote on these Sweet 16 matchups we're about to show you. Then we'll go down to our Elite 8, and you'll need to vote again, then the Final 4, and then on March 11th, we announce the champ. So how do you vote? Keep watching the show, but open another tab and go to the acc.com/Dunkuary. That's the acc.com/Dunkuary. You'll see the bracket. Click on a matchup, watch the dunks, and choose the one you want to advance to the next round. From there, you'll be taken to another matchup. You can watch those dunks and vote, and so on and so on. Go through all 8 matchups. Sweet 16 voting today and tomorrow only, so vote now. Chucky, in our opening round, I know you did a lot of voting.
Yeah, I did a lot of voting. I got real excited seeing the dunks. I voted on the dunks, and I was sitting at home watching and getting excited. My daughter thought something was wrong with me. I had to say, well, no, I'm just watching basketball, honey.
All right, so let's start with what fans decided was the most exciting dunk. The #1 overall seed from the opening round. And if you were watching the first round voting, you saw, and you know, it's no surprise, Vince Carter, North Carolina. One of the great dunkers of all time. The 16 seed he's going up against in the first round, Gene Banks, a Duke legend. In 1980, he showed no fear, not only dunking against 7'4" Ralph Sampson, but attacking Sampson hard at the rim. Carter, the only out-of-bounds play to make our bracket. Here it is, the '96 ACC tournament against Clemson.
Yeah, this was a nasty dunk. He went in between 2 Clemson defenders who tried to act like they were going for the ball, but once they saw how high it was, they realized, well, there's only one other guy that's going to get this. It won't be either one of us.
2 guys jumped. They knew they had no shot. And Vince doesn't just go up. He goes up and throws it down hard. That is classic Vince Carter right there. That dunk, the #1 seed in Dunkuary. All right, but let's see Gene Banks. He's one of the 3 at-large bids chosen by me. Yes, me, the czar of Dunkuary. There he is, Banks, right in Ralph Sampson's grill.
Yeah, I think this dunk is really underappreciated for the simple fact that the rims were not collapsible back then. So he dunked it, and it was a nasty dunk, but the rims didn't collapse, so it didn't really give the real nastiness of the dunk.
I'm glad we get an old school dunk in there. That's great. And I love that we have a Duke-Carolina matchup right out of the gate. Our 116 is one of the great rivalries in all of college basketball. All right, Chucky, give me a sense. Who do you like? What would be your pick? Vince Carter versus Gene Banks?
I have to go with Vince Carter's dunk. The degree of difficulty was very tough. He went up between two defenders and just power dunked it in, and it was no one else that could get the ball but him.
All right, I can't say this enough. You have to vote to see Vince Carter or Gene Banks advance to the Elite Eight. Go to the acc.com/Dunkuary. You only have today and tomorrow. Oh, by the way, you still see Gene Banks around, right?
Yes, I see Gene Banks from time to time. He's a scout with the Washington Wizards now, so the very next time that I see him, we will be discussing that dunk.
Perfect, perfect. All right, the next matchup, the 8 versus 9 matchup. It's always the toughest in March, right? The 8 seed is the dunk voted by you as the best in Clemson history, KJ McDaniels. The only dunk from this season. It's against the Wake Forest champ, Jeff Teague. McDaniels, I'll tell you, more people have watched this dunk in our bracket than any other. That includes Vince. McDaniels goes up as the follow, coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, this dunk right here, this was one of those safety dunks that we were talking about. He went up. If he would have let go of the rim, he probably would have flipped right off of the Wake Forest player's back. But for him to hang on the rim and just the face that he's making just made this a crazy, incredible dunk.
He's the 8 seed. The 9 seed, Jeff Teague, the shortest guy in our bracket, and this is nasty.
Yeah, this is very nasty right here. He took off from the block and went up with a power dunk. And this is a guy that's, like you said, the smallest guy, and went up with a power dunk and then gave the little beat on the chest there. I kind of like the ending of that dunk with a little bit of flair.
Yeah, absolutely. Flair matters. Style points do matter here in Dunkuary. And you know Jeff Teague from the NBA, right?
Yes, I've seen Jeff Teague dunk in games with the Atlanta Hawks. And he actually almost made me drop my food when I saw him dunk on Lamar Odom one time.
So that's another one where the little man, 6'2", going up over big guy. All right, so tell me your pick. Who would you vote for, KJ McDaniels or Jeff Teague?
The KJ McDaniels dunk was great, but I got to go with Jeff Teague. It was just something about him with a power dunk, and he's being a point guard. That made that dunk really special.
All right, so you've seen Vince versus Gene Banks. You've seen KJ McDaniels versus Jeff Teague. Let's move to the next quarter of the bracket. Start with the 5-12 matchup. You always see 5-12 upsets in March Madness, so will we see it in Dunkuary? The 5 seed, Georgia Tech's Isma'il Muhammad, and the 12 seed, the dunk selected by you as the best in Florida State history, Alexander Johnson. This is power versus power. First, let's watch Muhammad.
Yeah, this right here, this is just a tremendous dunk. As you said before, he's a lefty. He dunked that right-handed, and he looked like he took Ingen Atsar out of the front row and said, here, stand here and let me do my dunk contest dunk. And right there, I really felt bad for Ingen, but that right there, coming from him, a power dunker, dunking with the offhand, that was very difficult.
We said it's power versus power. Let's watch Alexander Johnson. I mean, clear the way for Alexander Johnson.
Yeah, right here, him going up, knee in the chest right here, and just power dunking it in. That was an awesome dunk. You know, that could have also been some dental work for the Georgia Tech defender. So he's lucky right there. But that was an awesome dunk also, not taking anything away from it. You know, that was a tremendous power dunk, and he just flushed it really hard. I enjoyed that dunk.
All right, Chucky, make sense for this for me. You have 2 power dunks. How do you find a difference between these two?
For me, the 2 power dunkers, I have to go with the smaller power dunker because it seemed like he had farther to go. And plus, he almost cleared and actually did clear Ingen Atsar after he put his head down.
Yeah.
And that made that degree of difficulty much harder. Not that Alexander's dunk wasn't, but that dunk there is just, you know, the smaller guy going up with a power dunk with the offhand.
Right.
Made it for me.
So we've seen Jeff Teague, we've seen Isma'il Muhammad. A message here, size matters.
Yes.
You know, if you're the smaller guy and you're going up strong, we will notice. You know, I actually traded tweets with Georgia Tech great Kenny Anderson. I know he was keeping an eye on Dunkuary already, so thanks for Kenny Anderson for getting out the word on Georgia Tech's dunks. Isma'il Muhammad representing Georgia Tech. He is the 5 seed. Do you want Muhammad or Alexander Johnson to advance? It is up to you. You determine who wins this matchup. It's your voting. Go to the acc.com/Dunkuary. The winner of Muhammad versus Johnson takes on the 4-13 winner. Daquan Jones is the 4 seed. He is the Miami Hurricanes dunk champ. And the 13 seed, Steve Francis. He lost in the voting for best Maryland dunk ever, but he got a ton of love, so I made him the second of my 3 at-large picks. So let's take a look, starting with the 4 seed, DeQuan Jones. Perhaps more than any other dunk, the degree of difficulty is off the charts, Chucky.
Yes, it is. The degree of difficulty on a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 12. The way he dunked it, in between 2 Carolina players with another one right around there, and all 3 of the guys were bigger than him, and he went under the rim and then just, boom, just kabonged it in.
Kabonged it in. I love that. Now, the 13 seed is the franchise, who always played with style and flair, and he shows it off here, getting the turnover. He's got the breakaway. He's all alone, and he rewards the crowd.
Yeah, Steve Francis always played with a lot of energy. He was always fun to watch play, and whenever he got a breakaway like that, he always did something with some flair in it, and that was no different right there.
Steve Francis, by the way, I don't know if fans remember the 2000 Slam Dunk Contest. It was him and Vince Carter.
That's right. That's right.
So we have both of them in our Dunkuary. And again, Steve Francis, the 13 seed, DeQuan Jones, the 4 seed. You vote at theacc.com/Dunkuary. Chucky, we talked about DeQuan Jones' dunk. He takes off from the block on one side, flies under the hoop, draws it down, goes back up. It's just a crazy dunk.
Yeah, like I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 12. This is a very hard dunk.
Tar Heels there.
Yes, and the degree of difficulty is simply off the charts. It's something that you use, you practice for that. That's a dunk contest dunk right there. And he did it in the game. So that right there, I have to go with DeQuan Jones.
And credit to DeQuan. I loved for about a half second, he was like, ooh. But then he got right back up and went back to play defense.
Yeah, he acted like he did it before. So that right there also made me go with DeQuan.
He's going up against Steve Francis. The franchise actually retweeted us. He's been paying attention to Dunkuary as well. So watch out for fans of Steve Francis getting on there and voting for Steve Francis. So if you're a DeQuan Jones fan, you better keep up. I'm telling you, he has a ton of followers. Okay, the top half of the bracket is done. You've seen 4 matchups. You'll get to vote on each of them. It's Dunkuary from the ACC Digital Network, brought to you by Ruby Tuesday. The bracket is up right now, the acc.com/Dunkuary. Click on a matchup, watch the dunks, vote. You only have today and tomorrow for the Sweet 16. We announce the Elite 8 on Friday here on ACC Live. He's Chucky Brown. I'm Jeff Fischel. Let's get right into the bottom half of the bracket. Our 3 seed, it's his airness. He just turned the big 5-0, Michael Jordan. He takes on the 14 seed, your choice for the best Boston College dunk ever, Corey Raji. Raji's a great dunk, but we have to start with his airness, Michael Jordan. This is a classic dunk. Everyone remembers it. The final seconds against Maryland in 1984. Rock the cradle.
Yeah, this dunk right here, I remember seeing it in a dunk contest with Larry Nance. And Michael Jordan was the first guy that I saw do it in the game. And I actually tried to do it in a high school game after he did it in the game. It just had so much flair.
All right, so you tried it. Did you succeed? Did you
I succeeded. I definitely succeeded.
With the rock the cradle. I love it. All right, but let's take a look at Corey Raji. This is the only fast break alley-oop in the bracket. And that is a great catch and throwdown, Chucky.
That is a great catch and throwdown, and that's one of those safety dunks as well. Yeah, I can remember getting a lob thrown to me where I let the ball go because I was more concerned with the safety. And he didn't think about his safety right there. And he was able to catch the ball, dunk it down, take the contact from Milton Jennings, and then catch himself on the floor. Another great dunk.
Yeah, take us through what he's thinking about when he's flying through the air. Completely fearless flying at the rim, right? I mean, he has a guy in his face.
Right.
And he's still going up strong. And he's got to worry about how he lands.
Right, yeah. Right there, that could have been a bad break of a wrist or anything. You've seen that happen before. But he wasn't concerned with that. All he was concerned with, not getting his point guard to turnover and getting his 2 points.
All right, so you like that. You like the fearlessness, but do you like it enough to take down Michael Jordan?
No, I don't. I have to roll with Michael Jordan, and just the flair of that dunk, it just outweighs the dangerousness of Corey Raji's dunk.
So that's the 3-14 matchup, Michael Jordan versus Corey Raji. The winner takes on the 6-11 matchup, and it's a great one as well. Deron Washington, he's so good at the rim, he was taking on himself in the battle for our best Virginia dunk ever. So, of course, Deron Washington won. The 11 seed, the last of my at-large bids, Gavin Grant, lost by just 2 votes for best NC State dunk ever. It's Washington versus Grant. It sounds like a discussion of presidents or generals. Here comes Deron Washington against Georgia Tech, and this is just ridiculous, Chucky.
Yeah, this is incredible. Incredible athleticism. Is actually Blake Griffin before Blake Griffin.
That's right.
So Blake Griffin copied him on this dunk.
Off 2 feet, in a guy's face, throwing it down.
Yes.
Now here comes Gavin Grant. He's got the breakaway here against North Carolina. And this is a slam dunk competition kind of dunk.
Yes, this is a slam dunk competition kind of dunk. The degree of difficulty for Gavin Grant was not known as a leaper. So for him to rock the cradle and then turn his body and dunk it backwards was an extremely difficult dunk for him to do because he wasn't a leaper.
And put yourself in Gavin Grant's position. He's got the breakaway.
Right.
He knows he's going to hear about it. If he doesn't finish, he better get it right.
Yeah, he better get it right. We have moments in basketball where we call it getting a flat tire when you don't jump as high as you think. That could have happened to him, but it didn't.
Let's take a look at Deron Washington one more time.
Right.
Chucky, he gets up so high, he's actually staring eye level at the rim.
That is just simply incredible. He had major league bounce is what we used to say. He had major league bounce. And the Georgia Tech defender had no shot at all at blocking that. And he just kind of went up and just said, okay, you got it, my man.
All right, so give me your pick for that matchup. Who do you like to win that one?
I definitely have to go with Deron Washington. Just the athleticism and him looking at the rim and just throwing it in. And if he was able to get a hold of the rim and make the rim give a little bit, it really could have been a disgusting dunk.
So here's how you vote. Go to the acc.com/Dunkuary. You can keep watching our show, open up another tab, start looking at there you go. Start looking at the bracket right now. Pick a matchup, watch the dunks, vote, and you immediately get prompted to the next matchup. It'll take you right through all 8 matchups. And remember, you only have today and tomorrow. On Friday, we announced the Elite 8. That means 8 of those dunks will be there on Friday. 8 will have lost. Don't blame yourself. Don't say, I could have helped my favorite dunk win. We move on to the Final Four after the weekend. It moves fast. The champ is crowned March 11th. All right, now let's get to the last quarter of the draw. A great 7-10 matchup. The 7 seed chosen by you as the best dunk in NC State history, Damon Thornton. And the 10 seed, your pick as the best Maryland dunk ever, Len Bias. Damon Thornton wasn't just big, he would throw it down hard, Chucky.
Yeah, Damon Thornton was a power dunker as well. You know, you saw him, and he's a physical specimen. Oh, and this dunk right here, he was probably about 250 pounds and just jumped over the Maryland defender like it was nothing.
And that's not just any Maryland defender, that's a 7-footer.
Right, that's a 7-footer, and that's big.
So that's Damon Thornton. What about Len Bias? Let's travel back in time. And for those who remember those days when there weren't as many games on television, we all remember watching this game, watching this moment.
Yes, this dunk right here, I can remember being in college. We were all sitting around the TV, and everyone just jumped up after Lenny stole the ball out of bounds, and we were just like, oh! You know, it was just incredible.
And you know, from your days, you arrived at North Carolina State to play against Len Bias one year. He knew how to talk, right?
Oh, yeah. I was a freshman. He talked the entire game, and I came in the game to defend him one time, and I said it out loud, and he heard me. And he said, you guard me, freshman? Oh, I'm going to kill you. So I told Washburn, take him. He's a little bit upset. I'll take Derek Lewis.
That's a smart move, I think. So I love this matchup. Both over big guys, over 7-footers.
Yes.
Chucky, make your pick. Len Bias or Damon Thornton? Who advances? Who would you pick?
I have to go with Lenny Bias. After he made the jumper and then the awareness to get the steal and then go up backwards over a 7-footer like Warren Martin. Warren Martin was like 7'2" to be exact when he stood up straight. So for him to do that backwards, I have to go with that dunk.
All right, so he goes old school. He's going with Len Bias in that one over Damon Thornton. I like it. Time now for our final matchup. The 2 seed versus the 15 seed. And for the 2nd overall seed, I have 2 words for you. Push-ups. Or is that one word with a hyphen in there? I'm not sure. Either way, it's Duke's Dante Jones. The 15 seed, Virginia's Mustafa Farrakhan. Let's start with Dante Jones. We know the dunk. We love the dunk. And this has as much flair, Chucky, as any dunk in the bracket. The push-ups.
Yeah, this was an incredible dunk with an extreme amount of flair. And if you notice, he had one leg on the Virginia defender as he was doing his push-up. So he was totally disrespectful right there.
You know, I've seen that dunk. I've seen that dunk 1,000 times already. I've never noticed that before. He still had a foot on the guy.
Yes, he still had his leg on him and had the audacity to do a push-up.
So that's Duke's Dante Jones. He's the 2 seed going against Virginia's Mustafa Farrakhan.
Yeah, this dunk right here, I almost jumped out my seat on this one because Mustafa Farrakhan is not a big guy. Javi Gonzalez wasn't a big guy either, but he probably thought he was going to lay it up. And for him to dunk it and then just stare right in his face like, did you really think you were going to block that? I thought that dunk was nasty as well.
Just from 3 years ago. So Mustafa Farrakhan versus Dante Jones. Again, Dante Jones is the 2 seed. Could Mustafa Farrakhan upset him? Who's your pick?
I went with the upset.
Whoa!
Mustafa Farrakhan. I'm sorry, Dante, but I thought Mustafa Farrakhan's dunk was a little bit nastier than his. Not that Dante Jones's dunk wasn't that. It was nasty too.
Hey, we're to the Sweet 16. Every dunk is great, right?
Yeah,
you have to pick and choose. Now, I have noticed some schools are on the wrong end of some of these dunks, a few more than other schools, right? We have 16 dunks, and North Carolina, your NC State, Wolfpack, and Maryland were each victimized 3 times out of our 16 dunks. Clemson, Georgia Tech, Virginia, each 2 apiece. Wake Forest 1. So some schools avoided being embarrassed in our Dunkuary. But NC State, hey, NC State has 2 nominees in the Sweet 16. You've also been on the wrong end 3 times.
Yeah, well, we got good company up there with
That's
us,
true.
so we'll take the positive out
no
of
shame.
that.
No shame at all. So that is the Sweet 16 bracket. Now it's up to you. Go to the acc.com/Dunkuary. You will see the bracket. Click on the matchup you want. Watch the dunks. Vote for the one you want to advance. It will automatically then prompt you and take you to the next matchup. Do not hesitate. Sweet 16 voting is just today or tomorrow. Vote on every matchup. We announce the Elite 8 Friday when you will have to vote again. Remember, you can tweet me to argue for a dunk. I'll retweet you, start a Twitter conversation. Next thing you know, your opinion will be flying all over the interwebs. I'm Jeff Fischel. I'm at Jeff Fischel. He's Chucky Brown at ChuckyBrown52.
Yes.
You wore that with how many different teams? Was that every time, or you had
every time? One time I wore number 6 with the Lakers because 52 was retired. Jamal Wilkes.
Jamal Wilkes.
Yes.
Wilkes. Keith Wilkes. All right. Coming up, Chucky gives us his Dunkuary Final Four and predicts a champ. I've seen his bracket. It has several surprises.
Oh, my! Jordan, look at that! Holy cow!
Do the hokey pokey and turn yourself around, young man.
What a play by Bias! Holy cow!
Out with the old and in with the delicious. Commit to bold taste with the new Flavor Resolutions menu at Ruby Tuesday. 10 entrees starting at $9.99. Try our savory barbecue brushed ribs and bacon wrapped shrimp. Or take it up a notch by adding coconut crusted shrimp to our mango salsa topped Caribbean chicken. Plus, enjoy our endless garden bar, free with any chef-inspired entree. Ruby Tuesday. It's all good here. Start the new year with savings. Visit rubytuesday.com today for a $5 coupon.
What's better, bigger or smaller?
Bigger!
So which would you rather have, a big treehouse or a small treehouse?
If it's big enough, you can have a disco. Oh, yeah.
Why do you not want a smaller treehouse?
Because it wouldn't be able to fit a flat screen TV, and then the TV would be about this big, and you would have to hold the wire. In the position you would hold the wire, you wouldn't be able to see the TV.
That's a pain in the buns.
Yeah.
It's not complicated. Bigger is better, and AT&T has the nation's largest 4G network.
The ACC Digital Network, the ultimate video destination for ACC fans. Exclusive highlights, live streaming games, and original live programming, unique access to the student athletes of our time and the legendary voices of all time. Defining moments, personal stories, incredible analysis from authentic ACC sources, cutting-edge content from the leaders in the digital space. The ACC Digital Network, brought to you by Ruby Tuesday.
Good afternoon, Chase Sapphire. This is Stacey from Springfield.
Oh,
Hello?
yes, I didn't realize you'd be talking to an actual person.
You don't need to press 0. I'm here.
Reach a person, not a prompt, whenever you call Chase Sapphire.
This Dunk of the Day brought to you by Ruby Tuesday.
They get the job done against...
Whoa, that's a Carl White getting the job done.
I saw that coming. That's why I was speechless for a moment.
And here at home, Florida State getting it done. On this feed inside to a Carl White.
Start the new year with savings. Visit rubytuesday.com to get $5 off 2 entrees.
Welcome back to ACC Live, our Dunkuary bracket special. He's Chucky Brown. I'm Jeff Fischel. You just saw Carl White, who, by the way, was one of our Florida State nominees. He didn't quite make our Sweet 16, but he's a great dunker as well. We're already getting comments about the Dunkuary bracket. David Tucker wrote us. He said, the bias play 100 times better than Damon Thornton. 3 words, not even close.
Yeah, I have to agree. It was even though I'm an NC State guy, I have to tell the truth. That dunk that Bias did, and like I said, the awareness to get the steal and all that, maybe not 100 times better, 75 times better.
That's the 7-10 matchup. Let's look at the bracket. We'll tell you how to vote. Go to the ACC.com/Dunkuary. There you see all the matchups. It's our bracket, 16 dunks. Click on one. You can start at the top, Vince Carter, Gene Banks, start wherever you want. Watch the 2 dunks, vote for which one you want to advance to the Elite 8, and then we'll take you right to the next matchup as well, so you can vote for all 8 of them very quickly. Our Elite 8 is coming on Friday, so do not wait. Again, we're getting more comments as well from fans who want to see their team, their guy, advance to the next round here on Dunkuary. Now it's time for some other news from across the conference. This is the ACC Now. Michael Snare scored 19 of his 24 points in the second half, helping Florida State pull away from Wake Forest last night, 76-62. Snare was huge in a 23-3 second half run that put the game to bed. Wake's C.J. Harris, the ACC Player of the Week, he made just 1 field goal. There are 3 games tonight. 5th-ranked Miami hosts Virginia Tech. The first game for the Canes since that upset loss at Wake Forest. Maryland visits Georgia Tech. And the Wolfpack at home against BC. I keep checking the experts' mock brackets. The latest from ESPN. Miami a 2 seed. NC State an 8 seed. Coach K says he will not coach Team USA anymore. He had said as much after last summer's Olympics, but he was even firmer yesterday in an interview with ESPN. Coach K led Team USA to gold medals in 2008 and 2012. A new coach is expected to be named this summer. 4 ACC women are on the Basketball Writers Association Player of the Year watch list. 2 Blue Devils, Chelsea Gray and Elizabeth Williams. A nice honor for Gray since she's out for the season. 2 Terrapins as well, Melissa Thomas and Tiana Hawkins. And that is the ACC Now. Let's get back to Dunkuary. We've released our 16 dunk bracket. If you want to look at it right now, open another tab. Go to the ACC.com/Dunkuary. Now you're saying, I don't see Chucky Brown in the bracket. I don't know, Chucky. You spent some time above the rim back in your day.
I spent a little bit of time above the rim.
What's the best of Chucky Brown from his years at NC State? Fortunately, we have the ACC archives, and you're hiding underneath. Oh, yeah. The reverse jam.
I remember that dunk. That was on a Sunday. That was an early game, and I remember the sun shining in the gym, and it was hard to see when you shot from the corner. That right there is one of my favorites because, of course, it was against Carolina, and I remember a few plays earlier, I had just received a forearm in the chest from Scott Williams, so I had to accent it a little bit by clapping to the crowd.
That's what we like. Those are the things we're talking about. We're talking about getting the crowd fired up. That's part of Dunkuary. So now that we know Chucky has the credentials, I need your Dunkuary Final Four, all right? This is not what Chucky thinks the fans – it's not what you're saying this is what the fans will do. This is what you think the best dunks are. So here it is. Chucky's Final Four. Vince Carter versus Daquan Jones, the 1 versus the 4 seed. But then the other semifinal. Len Bias, the 10 seed, which means you have Dante Jones going out. Yes. And you don't have him just losing to Len Bias. You have him losing in the first round to Mustafa Farrakhan.
Yeah, I just thought Mustafa Farrakhan, the smaller guy, dunking it with power, and it was just so much more nasty. Not that Dante Jones' dunk was nasty and probably had more flair because he did the push-ups with the leg over the guy. I mean, it could have went either way, but I went with Mustafa.
All right, so now that we know your Final Four, take me down to 2. Vince Carter versus Daquan Jones.
I'm going Daquan Jones.
Because the degree of difficulty, you've said it again.
Yeah, the degree of difficulty, that was like a dunk contest dunk. And he went up under the basket in between 3 Carolina guys. To me, Daquan Jones was much better.
And now our 80s bracket, Michael Jordan versus Len Bias.
I went with Michael Jordan.
Okay.
I thought the degree of flair was just off the charts for me. Rock the cradle. That was another dunk contest dunk. So I went with Michael Jordan.
And then your final, Chucky's picks, Daquan versus Michael Jordan. Who do you like?
I like Daquan. Daquan. I like the degree of difficulty. Like I said, from 1 to 10, is a 12 and maybe a 13 now that I've seen it 3 more times. It might be a 13 now. So Daquan Jones, that degree of difficulty, another dunk contest dunk, and he did it in between Carolina guys, and it was just incredible. And I jumped out my seat when I saw that one. I got really excited.
We're already starting to get some tweets about our bracket. Here's one. This is from an ACC fan who he disagrees with you. Trying to pick, what's he say? This is from Mason from Yonkers. Trying to pick my vote for Dunkuary on the ACCDN, and I've narrowed it down to Ish, Vince, and Dante. The push-ups may take it. So there again, we've been talking about it. Dante Jones versus Mustafa Farrakhan.
Right.
It's a great that's the 215 matchup. That's how good
Right.
Dunkuary is. That's the 215. 1 versus 16 Vince Carter versus Gene Banks throwing it down on Ralph Sampson. I mean, come on. And remember, you can find them all. The ACC.com/Dunkuary. That's where we have the bracket. Vote on every matchup you have today and tomorrow. We announce the Elite 8 on Friday. Then you'll have the weekend to vote on the Final 4. And the champion is crowned March 11th. That's the week it's coming up of the ACC Men's Basketball Tournament. Thank you for watching. Get out and vote. Click on those matchups. Watch the Dunks vote. If you want to make sure your favorites move on, you have to vote. Get your friends to vote too. Thanks for watching ACC Live, our bracket special.